This world began to unravel long before you were born. It began with fogfall. Spectral mist bled from the seams where reality wore so thin it split. And from that fog emerged monsters. As cities fell and unrest spread, humans united in their fear whilst monsters thrived in the chaos. And then there's you. You're not even sure if you're human. You were born cursed, with hands that alter the minds of anyone you touch. Your name is Maddie. You selected they-them pronouns. Your backstory is the Hound. Iridia, the city of knowledge, one of the last bastions of humanity left in the world, and home to the famous academy called the Cenobium. All the world's knowledge gathered in one place. If there's anywhere I'll find a cure for my curse, it's there. Then, the wagon violently pitches to the side. A soulless stoops over the twisted form of a caravaner. I freeze, but it swivels its head. A dozen bulging eyes twitch in my direction and blink as one. We need to run. They reach for my hand, but I realize too late that my bandages have come undone. Suddenly, clammy hands crush my throat, choking off my breath. Die! 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 There's a flash of claws. Red spills across my vision. Distantly, I notice an arm resting among an outcrop of reeds. Mine, neatly severed at the elbow. Do not be afraid. I twist my head toward the voice. Try not to move. You may call me Kuras. You are the only survivor from the caravan, barely clinging to life. You needed immediate treatment. I simply meant that few would cling to life so resolutely, or brave such a perilous journey to Iridia. I could not help being curious about you, Maddie. I need directions to the Cenobium. The Cenobium? Whatever you seek, it is very unlikely you will find it there. The Cenobium's gates open for precious few visitors. Even if they did, you would not like what you found inside. Head to the Wet Wick and ask for Leander. When you meet Leander, tell him I sent you. 2 streets later, I pass under a wrought iron archway adorned with dangling garlands of red and pink lilies. The buildings in this quarter are a dizzying riot of colour, painted walls and tinted glass everywhere I look. Sheer red and pink curtains flutter in open doorways, musical voices call out invitingly, incense mingles with a pungent scent of flowers, barely covering the salt and musk of warm bodies. This must be Iridia's entertainment district. I'm polishing off my food and dusting the crumbs from my hands when I spot a poster. It features the silhouette of a smiling man wearing a single dagger-like earring and the word Bloodhounds printed above his head. A motto, as above, so below, circles the artwork. If Leander is the leader of the Bloodhounds, then the face printed on the poster is likely his. I follow the line of identical posters around a corner and nearly hit my head on a precariously dangling wooden sign. Looking up, faded orange letters read, "The Wet Wick." The facade of the building looks like it's seen better days, but I hear faint music and laughter coming from inside. The inside of the bar is a far cry from the abandoned exterior. It's not even midday, yet most of the tables and booths are occupied by a loose assembly of people in matching green cloaks. There's a lot you can tell about a city by its dives. This one seems ordinary enough, even if the uniforms are unusual. A cursory glance doesn't tell of anyone with a dagger-shaped earring. I'm about to head towards the counter when a chant rises from the center of the room. Show! 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 The remaining green cloaks abandon the bar and their booze to rush towards the center of the room in a sudden torrent. There's no time to move out of the way. I'm caught, swept along in the ale-stenched current. Hey! Rhythmic chanting drowns out my voice. I thrash, throwing out my elbows as the press of bodies grows heavier. My hip knocks into a table. I grip it, holding on tight to steady myself, but the crowd has stilled. The chanting stopped. A pair of gilded boots stride across the tabletop. Seriously, you dogs again? Scattered laughter and cheers rise from the audience. I drag my eyes upwards. A well-dressed man stands at the table in front of me, his broad shoulders framed by the thick lapels of a trench coat. This really is the last time, all right. This time when he speaks, the audience falls silent, as though bewitched by his magnetic presence or rich, low voice. But nothing is as captivating as his smile. He beams at the crowd around him, a performer on his makeshift stage. Don't blink, or you'll miss it. He laughs, and the dagger-shaped earring dangling from his left ear catches the light in a flash of gold. It would seem I found Leander. He raises his hand above the audience and snaps. A flash of pale green light. Real magic, no ordinary stage trick, blinds me. As the brilliance ebbs, my gaze refocuses on the mage towering above me. He flicks his wrist and the magic spiraling around him coalesces. A delicate flower stem sprouts from between his pinched fingers. One by one, glowing lily petals spring forth. With a flourish, the mage presents the conjured flowers. The audience bursts into clapping and cheers. A genuine magic show was the last thing I expected from a place called the Wet Wick. Leander plucks the iridescent bouquet out of the air and turns in a slow circle, giving his audience a good look. Now, who could use some good luck? Eager onlookers scoot closer to the table. Some reach for their lilies while others whistle and call Leander's name. But his cool green eyes slide right over them, locking on me instead. How about you? My chest tightens. Every person gathered turns to stare at me. Take the flowers or refuse them. Well, he's looked around the room. Why would we refuse the flowers when he's looked around a room full of people and picked us? We're not going to touch his hand, we're only going to take the flowers. I reach out, all too aware of the way my fingers tremble as I carefully take the flowers from him. There's no weight to them, only a faint warmth that radiates from the stems. As soon as the flowers leave Leander's hand, their light dims. They fade away in a shower of opalescent light. To my surprise, Leander laughs under his breath. That's the problem with flowers. They don't last long, but they leave an impression, right? He grins at me and I find myself smiling back. Leander steps off the table, dropping among the excited crowd with an audible clink. Alright, Bloodhounds, get back to your drinks. Show's over. The green cloaks disperse at his command, returning to their tables and booths. Before I can make my way towards Leander, his eyes find me. He gives me a friendly wave, then beckons me over to the crowded counter. I manage to squeeze beside him, but there's so little room that his broad shoulder presses against mine. I tense, but he doesn't seem to mind at all. Is this your first time in Iridia? He says it lightly, with a genuine air of curiosity. Do I stick out that much? No, but I'm certain I'd remember seeing a face as lovely as yours around Lowtown. My eyes flicker to the polished countertop. I'm not used to flattery, and being this close makes eye contact difficult. As if on cue, the bartender approaches us. What can I get you? Surprise me, and add anything my friend wants to my tab. I wasn't expecting the generosity, but I have to admit, I do feel a little thirsty after all that fried dough. I'll have what he is having, or what is good. Do we know what he's ordering? I took it back because we were able to rewind to see, but he just said surprise me. And anything the friend wants. You know what? Whatever. Let's go with what he's having. Let's be adventurous. I'll have what he's having. While the bartender leaves to fix our drinks, Leander leans his elbows on the counter. I'm close enough to notice the purple shadows under his lower lids. His eyes wander over me in return, but when they lock on my bandaged hands, a sour taste rises in my throat. Here come the questions. So, what brings you to the Wick? Kuras sent me. He pushes his hair back from his forehead, but it immediately falls right back into place. So, it's about work. The bartender returns with a pair of glasses filled with what I can only assume is beer. I raise my glass and give it an experimental sniff. It smells faintly yeasty, but with an undercurrent I can't quite place. A quick sip confirms my worst suspicions. It's awful. Somehow briny and sour in a way that reminds me of pickles. but any thought of complaining dies the moment I look up and see Leander taking a deep swig from his glass. He lets out a satisfied breath. How can I be of assistance? I need to get to the cenobium. As soon as the word cenobium leaves my mouth, the entire bar falls silent. Bloodhounds twist around their seats to gawk openly. Finally, an especially drunk one speaks up. The hell are you bringing up the cenobium in here? Throw 'em out, this is Bloodhound territory! The vitriol catches me off guard. From the angry looks thrown my way, it's clear I've broken some unspoken rule just by mentioning the cenobium. When I glance at Leander, he's drinking, as though he hasn't noticed the uproar. Only when he catches me looking does he lower his glass. For the love of... He drags a hand down his face. Hey, keep it down, will you? This is business. I tense, expecting an argument, but the outspoken bloodhounds silently return to their drinks. Only a handful continue to watch me warily. Sorry about them. The cenobium's a bit of a touchy subject in these parts. Mix in enough drinks and... well, you saw. How about we continue this outside? When I give him a terse nod, he pushes away from the bar counter. I follow Leander to an alleyway tucked behind the Wet Wick, where layers of frayed bloodhound posters have been plastered to the walls. Seeing them side by side, the resemblance between Leander and his likeness on the posters is impressive. Kuras didn't send you here for help with the cenobium, did he? From the look he gives me, he already knows the answer. I glance away. No, he didn't. He suggested I find an alternative. Yet here you are, asking about them anyway. What do you need the cenobium for? I don't want to tell him about my curse. The less people I know about my capabilities, the better. Thankfully, Leander takes my reluctant silence as an answer. Well, I see you're already aware of the city's currency. Information's worth its weight in gold down here. Kuras told you the truth. The cenobium's dangerous. Get on their bad side and they'll imprison you if you're lucky, or torture you if you're not. But the cenobium's supposed to be a place of learning, a sanctuary. The cenobium has always been heralded as the last bastion of human knowledge, a shining beacon of hope in a world steeped in nightmares. If any place held answers, it would be the cenobium. That's why I came here. That's what they want you to think, but things that seem too good to be true are often just that. Such a simple statement, and yet it leaves me reeling. If it's true, if I staked everything on a lie, then what now? Leander clears his throat. But as I always say, there are solutions to every problem, and alternatives to every solution. He claps his hands and turns to me with a brilliant smile. That's why Kuras pointed you to the Bloodhounds. Let us help you. Whether it's hunting soulless, finding people, or recovering stolen valuables, we can do it all, and free of charge. I'm shaking my head before he's even finished his practiced speech. My patience is wearing dangerously thin. Listen, I appreciate the offer, but my problem can't be solved by a group of good Samaritans. To my chagrin, Leander nods slowly. Then your problem must be fairly serious, and if the cenobium's your first choice, you're searching for a magical solution, aren't you? When my eyes widen, he nods along, as though he suspected all along. I'd be happy to help you out, that is, if you'll tell me what ails you. Leander might not work for the cenobium, but he is a mage, and a powerful one at that if his demonstration earlier was any indication. I'm silent, plagued by indecision. I don't know if I can trust him, but it's not like I have any alternatives. I hate to admit it, but this could be my only path forward. My confession comes out in a pained whisper. I'm cursed. Cursed? Oh, now I'm very curious. What kind of curse? Something ancestral or more recent? He looks me up and down, taking in my face, my eyes, and finally, my hands. It's your hands, isn't it? I wait until I'm certain my voice will remain steady before answering. My touch is dangerous. It changes people, hurts them. Before I've even finished, Leander begins taking his glove off. He tugs his left hand free and flexes his fingers. Let's see it. He offers me his hand and a prismatic flash of magic ripples across his palm, but I'm already shrinking backwards. I can't. I don't care how confident Leander is, I can't bring myself to hurt him, to see his kind face twist into a mask of madness. Believe me, this isn't an ordinary curse. I'll be fine. Perhaps where you came from, your affliction was strange and one of a kind. But spend a year in this city, you'll see 1,000 curses and thrice as many Kuras. Do you really think Kuras would send you here if it couldn't handle it? How should I know? I only met him today. I'm as good as any mage in the Cenobium. Better even. If they can help, so can I. You don't know what you're asking me. I'm asking you to trust me. I look from Leander's outstretched hand to his confident smile. Then, with a short breath, I begin unwinding the bandages from my hand. Fine, but if you lose control, don't say I didn't warn you. You can tie me up first if it makes you feel better. With each joint I expose, I grow more and more certain that this is a terrible idea. Ready when you are. If he's bothered by the way my hand looks, he doesn't show it. My fingers hover shakily over his palm. 3, 2, 1. I tap his palm once, as quickly as possible. It's barely more than a brush, but that's all it ever takes. When I look at his face, expecting to see the worst, Leander only grins. See? It can't be. This time, when I reach out to touch Leander's palm again, he catches my wrist before I can pull away. I told you, there's really nothing to worry about. Oh! He trails off when my thumb brushes the soft skin of his inner wrist. I search Leander's face for traces of madness, but his eyes remain a clear, soft green. Colour rises in his cheeks, but he remains still except for the subtle bobbing of his throat. Oh, he blushing! Neither of us speak as I trace the contours of Leander's palm, lost in an awareness I wasn't prepared for. I've been with other people, kissed them, been embraced by them and more, but not like this. My fingers, long deprived by years of bandaging, pick up every single detail. The grooves of his palm, the small shell of his nails, the pulse of his heart. For as long as I've lived, I've never been able to hold someone's hand, not without dire consequences. I never realized what I was missing until this moment. While Leander's pulse is steady, mine is hammering as fear gives way to excitement. Oh my gosh. Keep touching him or let him go. Well, if he's not pulling his hand away, I think he understands the predicament we're in. I don't think he's going to be upset if we keep holding his hand. My hand glides over Leander's wrist and up his forearm where smooth skin abruptly gives way to the raised scar by the edge of his sleeve. It matches the one that runs from his collar to his cheekbone. Could it be the same wound? I glance at Leander's face, and his lips part as he considers his words before speaking. Am I the first person you've been able to touch like this? My hand goes still on his arm. So far. I'll admit, your touch does make it somewhat difficult to stay level-headed, but not due to your power. He takes my hand. His soft green eyes flick to mine before he turns it to inspect the gold fishes crisscrossing my knuckles. Look, we match. He points at a golden pin on his coat collar and I give him a small smile. I draw my hand back and take a steadying breath. My head feels as though it's stuffed with cotton. Habit alone guides me through the motions of re-wrapping my hand, although my fingers tremble too much for the bandages to lie flat. I can't believe that worked. May I ask your name? I'm Maddie. You were right to hide this from me, Maddie. That curse of yours. It's unlike anything I've ever dealt with. I can tell you're discreet, but you'd best not go showing that off to anyone else. I didn't plan on it. Are you staying in Lowtown? I pause. Room and board was something I hadn't yet considered. I don't know. Let's get you properly settled then. The Wet Wick is noticeably quieter. Without their leader, most of the Bloodhounds have dispersed, or in a few cases, fallen asleep beside their drinks. Got any rooms left, or did my luck grab them all to sleep it off? The bartender, who I now realize doubles as an innkeeper, slides a key onto the counter. You know, I always keep the corner room open for your escapades. Oh, okay. Leander's laugh sounds slightly strained. And I always appreciate it, but you're mistaken. This is just for my friend Maddie. Sure, stay as long as you like. You two have fun. Escapades, huh? Leander clears his throat, then holds the key out to me. But I hesitate. My coin purse barely holds enough for a day's worth of meals, let alone a room. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Bloodhound rates. my treat, since you shared your secret. Food, drink, a warm bed, anything you need. Carefully, I take the key from him. It's small, but weighs heavy in my palm. I never expected to have a warm bed in Iridia, let alone 3 meals. I planned to steal whatever I needed to get by, no matter how dangerous. Thank you. Go explore, Maddie. You'll find many roads in Iridia, each leading to different answers. But if you need a reprieve from what haunts you, come find me. Just be careful. I nod, taking one last look at the gleaming bronze key before tucking it into the pocket of my cloak for safekeeping. Leander gives me one last friendly wave before I depart. The air clings, sodden and heavy. Without the morning crowd, the sunless streets look barren and bleak. Even the peddlers are long gone. Only a pair of crows remain quibbling over the stale crusts in a gutter. I feel a ridiculous pang of envy. At least, they've got a reason to fight. I've never felt so lost. Kuras and Leander both made it clear that the cenobium can't be trusted, but I came so far, endured so much. I need to see the cenobium for myself, if only to satisfy my curiosity. I should have asked someone at the bar for directions before leaving. I'm about to turn back when a shadow passes over me. Formless dark spreads like ink into blotted shapes. Claws stretch. A muzzle splits open to reveal long, jagged teeth. A growl rumbles so low and deep I feel it. A monster. That much is clear from a glance. One that could nearly be mistaken for human, were it not for the tufted ears, the tail curled around his ankle. Jumpy, aren't you? I'm good with my hands, but not that good. Do I really look like a common thief to you? I'm flattered, really. Was sex my trade, I might make an exception for you. How about half off for a handy? So, your place or mine? What about the cenobium? Do you know where that is? A smile vanishes. The cenobium's overrated. Forget about it. I knew I smelled blood. You reek of death and the road. And that fucking doctor. The stranger, Veer I take it, rolls his eyes and flashes the cleric a withering smile. So suspicious. Can't you see this is a friend of mine? Try not to get yourself killed,